Okay, so this is going to be a simple tutorial on Git. So Git is a version control software that allows you to have multiple people working on the same project. Um, I'm going to be showing a little bit of this tutorial in Bitbucket. So there's Bitbucket, there's GitHub, GitLab. They all are pretty similar, but um, they're online repositories for your code. Um, and by repository, I mean, and in this, there's a remote repository or a remote location for your code, and there's also a local repository or a local location for your code. So the remote repository is the one that all of the different people in the project are connecting to and linking up with. And on your local machine, you have a copy of that project, so you can make changes to the code and then push those changes back to the remote repository. So first thing that we're going to do is that we're going to clone this remote repository. When you have a project, most likely you're going to be cloning a an existing repository, something that already has work done on it. Occasionally, you might create a brand new repository, but we're going to focus on what'll happen when you are coming into an existing project. So on Bitbucket, I'm just going to clone this project that I had from last semester, just my class project from last semester. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this string here and go into git bash. I'm going to make a new folder called git tutorial, and I am going to now clone this. So the command for that is git clone, and then you put in the location that you're cloning the repository from. So git clone for my repository on Bitbucket from this IS537 repository. Oh, and I actually need to be in the Git tutorial folder, so I'll hit that and let it download. So like I was saying, Git is really good um, for having multiple users on the same team. At my current job, I'm working for the Marriott School Web team, and we use Git all the time to coordinate our projects, well, to keep track of what everybody's working on. Um, and we always want to make sure that every morning we're pulling on master to make sure that, uh, and we'll get to git pull in the later on in the video, but just to make sure that everybody's code is up to date with what is on production. So now that's downloaded, we're going to go ahead and talk about branches. So on your local repository and on your remote, there are things called branches. A branch is a place where you can make changes to the code without affecting the master branch or without affecting the master code uh, that is working correctly. So when you create a branch, you are pretty much saying, I'm going to change the code and I'm going to make sure that everything runs in my branch, and then I'm going to then push that and merge it into the master. So if we look right now, we'll say git branch. And sorry, again, we need to be in the git folder. So our git folder, our folder that has git enabled, is this IS537 folder. So we're going to go ahead and go into that. And now if you notice there, um, it changed to show in the blue pillar there master. So it's showing that I'm on the master branch right now. So if I say git branch, it'll just show the master. And we don't want to work directly on master. We want to work on a branch that we can then push to that branch on the remote repository as well. So we're going to create a new branch called, and this is how you create a new branch. You say git checkout dash b, and we're going to call this um, just the git test branch. Okay, so it says switch to new branch get test. So if we say get branch again, we see the get test branch and the master branch. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and change some files on this folder that we just now created. So I'm going to go back and open this folder. And so we can see the project that I worked on this last semester. We're just going to go into one of these files, and I'm just going to add a something down here, a print statement that says um, hello world. It's a boring day. Okay, so we add hello world, just save the file, and we'll go back to here. So now um, the next, so what we just changed is we changed a file on our working copy. So your working copy is um, is anything that you're currently working on in the current setting, anything that you haven't um, committed and pushed to uh, or committed to your local copy or to your local machine, and then pushed to the remote. So we're currently on the working copy, the change that I just made. So we're gonna say get, to show you what that means, I'll say get status. So this says changes not staged for commit, and it shows that binary tree main.py file. So like I said, we're on the working copy and we want to stage those files so that we can then commit those files. So the command to stage the files is git add. You can either say git add for a specific file name, or if you're just planning on adding everything that you want to add, you say git add dash dash al, git add all. And then, so if we say git status, again, it'll show them in green, say that this file is ready and staged and ready to be committed. So then we're going to go ahead and commit that to our local copy. So we'll say git commit dash am, and we add a commit message when we say that. So we say git commit dash am, and we're going to say files are ready. You'd have, or I guess we'll say adding hello world statement. So your commit message will be something along the lines of what you've actually made, what changes you've made in the files or in the directory that you're working with. So we're going to go ahead and commit that. It says one file change, two insertions, one deletion. So that just means that I inserted 2 lines into the file. So I say git status again, and it says nothing to commit, working on clean tree. So like I said, the commit is into my local machine right now, my local repository. But we do want to see those changes on um, the remote repository, the one on, in this case, Bitbucket. So the command to push is that git push, and we're going to say origin for the remote copy, and we're going to say that the branch that we want to push it to. So we're trying to push to this git branch or git test branch. So since there's only this git branch on the local machine, like it says here, it says creating a new branch right here at the bottom. It says creating a new branch git test. So it was taking the information from my local branch and pushing it up to the remote, saying now we have a new branch on remote as well as your local machine. It's called git test. So if we go over here to the Bitbucket side, and we click on source, we're going to see right here there's a master, and this will show us all our branches. So we have master, and now we have git test on here. So if we go into git test, and then we run the binary tree, down here on the main.py file, it says changed a minute ago, adding hello world statement. So we just committed all of those changes to the git test branch on our remote repository. And if you look here on master, it doesn't show that commit message there. So those changes have only been changed on this test branch. So what we need to do now is to we need to get these changes that we've made and put onto this git test branch. We need to get those merged into master. And the way that you merge changes into master is that you have a pull request. So we're going to go here and make a pull request on Bitbucket and create a pull request. And a lot of times, Bitbucket, GitHub, GitLab are really, they're, oh, and I misspelled statement when I put that commit message in. Anyways, Bitbucket and all of these programs are pretty smart when it comes to what are you merging in. It usually looks for what was the last updated thing. So it already has on here that we're trying to merge our git test branch into our master branch. So you can change that if you had multiple branches or if you weren't trying to do this specific merge or this specific pull request. Um, and so you can add a title, you can change the title, you can add a description. You can, if you have multiple people on the project like you would usually have if you're using um, Git, you can have a reviewer so that they have to review the code before it gets merged so that you're not just pushing any random thing. And then this thing here says close branch, use close git test after the pull request is merged, meaning we don't want to just keep on having more and more branches clogging up our remote repository. So remove that from the remote repository when it gets merged. We'll go ahead and click that and hit create pull request. Okay, so it did that, and then it's going to show us what are the different changes that we made. So it says that we removed a line here on line 47, and then we added 2 lines on 49 and 50 and added this print hello world statement. So I think that those are great. There's no problems with the merge. I can either edit and say that it needs to be changed, or I can decline it, or I can vote to approve it, but we're just going to go ahead and click merge. And merge again. So now it will delete that old, if we go back to source, we'll see that it deleted that old branch. So now we just have master again. And if we go into binary tree, we'll see 4 minutes ago adding hello world statement. So we see that that change was merged into master now. Now, like I said in the beginning, every day you'll want to pull from master on to your local repository so that you know that any changes that were made in master from the day, or you might be pulling multiple times a day, it depends on what your company does, but um, any changes that were made on master, you want them in your repository so that when you create a new branch, you're not working with old code, you're working with the newest updated code that's in the remote master. So all of the once see we have this git test branch still active, we're going to go ahead and go to the master. And we're going to say git status on master. And so right now it says your branch is up to date with origin master. And that's not 100% correct because we know that our git, that we pushed changes to the remote repository of git test, and then we merged them into the master on remote. But we never merged our changes from our local repository git test to our local repository master. And um, that's just Git not knowing that there are changes that have been made. So when you say git pull, you're pulling all of the changes from the remote repository and you are merging them directly into your code. So one thing that you can do before you pull, just to make sure that all that you do want to make those changes, is a git fetch. So git fetch just says, show me all the changes that have been made, show me all of the branches that have been made that are on remote, and then I will pull on what I want to do. So we'll say git fetch, and it does show that there is changes on master. So if we say now git status, again, we're on master, it says your branch is behind origin master by 2 commits. So that those 2 commits are the commit that we made on git test and then the merge that we merged into master. So now if we say git pull, then it will pull in the files that we changed and the line insertions and deletions that we changed. And now our master is exactly where we want it to be. If we look back on here, something that it didn't show is I didn't come back to Atom before I pulled, but if you would have seen Atom before I pulled, then it would not have had this print statement here. It would have just shown the old copy, and then as soon as we pulled and come back into Atom, then it would have shown the hello world statement now on there. So that is really the gist of Git. And Git is a really complicated thing that it's really hard to be a master of Git, but the basic commands are pretty simple and they make your life a whole lot easier when it comes to hosting code and making sure that multiple people can work on the same project. So that's all that we have for today. Thanks.